that were transported. One is in critical condition and is over at Parkland Memorial Hospital in Dallas because there were some burns involved with that patient. Our thoughts and prayers are with her and with their family. I will tell you that the Fort Worth Fire Department Fire Investigations Unit is in the lead on the investigation of this. There was natural gas involved. We do not know if gas caused the explosion or the explosion caused the gas problem. So that's part of the investigation, and we're working collaboratively with the energy company Atmos to make that determination. We also had some barriers due to some water leaks that occurred. The building had to be pumped out. There was a lot of debris. Two stories of debris collapsed into the basement where the primary, several of the victims were found. So because of the complexity of the building, the decision was made overnight to involve the state of Texas and some resources that they have through their FEMA task force. We brought them in for two things. Mainly, we brought them in for their technical assistance from a structural collapse standpoint to make sure we were putting our people in a good position to be safe. We also brought in some dogs that we have been using across the state, across the country, regarding cadaver dogs to make sure that if there was somebody that was trapped under the debris, we had the best opportunity to find them. That's part of what we call a secondary search. That search concluded this afternoon, a little over an hour ago, and we can confidently say at this point we have no indication that anybody is missing. We have no reports of anybody missing at this point. We have found no additional victims. So with that, we are continuing to work collaboratively with the Fort Worth Police Department, with the Marshal's Office, with other city departments such as building and code enforcement to try to make sure that this building not just is safe but is secure, and that we can work with the rest of the city to make sure that we get back to as normal of we've got parades coming and things like that. So we're working on trying to figure out what the next step is, because we expect that this is going to be closed for the next several days. And I guess with that, I'll take some questions. Hang on, let me start over here.
Can you please give us a better timeline of when that first call came in about someone smelling gas?
So I don't have an answer to you on a report of a gas smell that was called to the 911 office of the city of Fort Worth. It is my understanding that about 3:38 we received a call of an explosion, but it is not my understanding that we investigated any smell of gas prior to that. I would have to defer to Atmos about whether or not they had received any call. Well, so we don't really know that, and that's part of the investigation. I will tell you with confidence that there's been a lot of social media reporting on different things that are nefarious in nature, and we have found no indication. We have found no indication, and I spoke to City Council earlier today with Chief Noakes from the police department, and we have no indication that there's any purposeful intent to cause harm here. So those are, what else could it be? That still remains to be determined. But it is obvious that there was something involving gas. It's just a matter of the chicken or the egg, what came first. So that's a great question. The first thing that we had to do was remove surface area victims and get everybody out of there that was hurt, that we could safely extract from the building, provide treatment, collaboration with MedStar, and get them to local area hospitals. And I'd like to thank them. They did a great job as well, supporting not just us, but the issue here. Then secondarily, you go back in and you begin unlayering the collapse area to determine whether or not it's safe to continue. The city has structural engineers. He came in to make a determination for us last night that this building is imminently not going to collapse and it's safe to continue working in. And we thank the Development Department for that. But when we reached out to the state and we asked for their assets, they also offered, and we took them up on a structural collapse engineer, because as we remove debris, we want to make sure that as we alter the debris field, we're not creating additional opportunities for collapse and injury to our folks who are trying to complete a secondary assessment. I think that remains to be investigated, but I can't answer that with 100% certainty until we have the opportunity, our fire investigators have the opportunity for sure to interview all of the people impacted to determine where they were at in the structure when it happened. I think that's a better one left for me to say to you. I'll get back to you on that one. I have no indication from Atmos that they were on scene and doing any work in the area. They did not notify the fire department, to my knowledge, that, hey, we've got a problem here, we need you to come out. And I just left them, and they are cooperating with us, trying to figure out the cause. And I do think that it's important for me to leave one message with the general public, and that is natural gas is really relatively safe, but if you smell anything, you smell the rotten egg smell of what natural gas is, then please call 911, please call the gas company, and we will immediately come out and investigate it and try to determine the cause and contain it.
Can you say where the most of the damage is? Is there any indication of where the explosion began and then where it went from there?
Well, I think it's safe to say that the debris field is in the basement area below grade of the building. Now, that appears to be the case from assessment of fire rescue teams that are in there. There is significant damage in the building, and it is primarily in the sub-level area and obviously under the street, as you see on the south side of the intersection.
So is that to say that you think the explosion began down there in the basement where most of the damage is?
I think that it's fair to say that that is a high area of concentration for our inspectors, or for our investigators, and for the gas folks as they try to determine a cause. That is a fair assumption, but I'm not prepared to confirm that for you.
And can you give us an understanding of what's happening, what the ongoing work is that we see behind you here?
So there's a couple different things that are going on. First of all, we have started a family reunification area for their personal belongings. There was approximately 28 rooms in the hotel that were occupied. We immediately, as soon as the building was rendered safe, we sent people in to get things that people needed, their travel documents, their medicines, stuff like that out of the room. But that was just an immediate thing. We're now going back in, we're working collaboratively with the leadership of the hotel to try to identify the belongings of people and get them back their belongings so they can go about their lives. Secondarily, so that's going on. Secondarily back there is that they are setting up a perimeter. They're going to control that through the night with the idea that in the morning we will begin trying to help the hotel board up their windows and things like that to make the building safe and secure. And then Atmos, and they can speak more to this, they are working on underground. They're looking to make sure that they've done their due diligence to make sure that there's no pressure issues with the line there. So that's the three things that are going on back there right now.
And can you give us an understanding of when the road might reopen, when some of these businesses might be able to get...
We will know more tomorrow afternoon at this time about that, but I would expect that that later this evening, this side of the road will open. That down there is going to be closed at least through tomorrow. And at the very earliest, I would say, tomorrow's Wednesday, it'll be the end of the week before that's open, because they're digging, they're gonna have to fix whatever, find whatever, repave whatever. So it's gonna be closed for a period of time. I'm sorry, ma'am, I can't hear you. Yeah, so we've got we got the stock show rodeo parade. We've also got Martin Luther King parade coming up this weekend. There will be a meeting, city leadership in the morning at the Emergency Operations Center to determine with parade organizers what rerouting will look like around this scene. No, I'll have to verify that for you, but nobody has told me that of anything that we've been working on or tracking or any emergency runs we've taken related to that in the last 48 hours. But I will have to verify that for you, and Craig can help me do that.
Sir, with lower levels of the building, any concern in the mechanical room, boilers?
Yeah, there's...
Hot water? I mean, is there equipment?
Yes, there is. It appears that there was a laundry room down there. It appears that You know, it's in an area where a restaurant, a bar area when you walk in. So it's concrete flooring. That concrete's reinforced with rebar that actually strengthens the concrete. So our folks had to cut through that, move that safely, make sure that they assessed what they were trying to do before they did it, in order to make sure that they didn't secondarily collapse anything. But yes, there were mechanical rooms down there, and the water came from the fire suppression system and the street water system that is in that area of the building as well.
Sir, when you look at the last 24 hours, when you look back at the last 24 hours, take a step back. So when you first got this first call and you heard what happened, you came and saw what happened, what was going through your head at that moment as you're just trying to evaluate this scene?
So I think from the first thing that you do is you trust your command staff to set up a immediate triage, treatment, transportation area, rescue surface victims, work collaboratively to secure the area with people like the police, make sure that the people are taken care of and that we've effected rescue. Once we get that done, you know, nothing like this gets done without the collaboration of multiple departments. You know, as an example, you know, I mentioned the development department, code enforcement. You know, there's just so many different people that TPW that come in that have to help us with this. This is not, hey, we're the fire department, we're the police department, we got this. There has to be collaboration, and so that's going on. So the first thing you do is surface area rescue. You make sure that you secure the area, and then you look for extended victims. You make sure that they're all treated and transported. Once the scene is secure, then you start worrying about what caused it and what we're going to do about it. Ma'am?
Have you been able to personally view video of the actual explosion?
I've seen minimal video of that, but yes, and that's part of the investigation. Street cameras and things like that are being accessed to make sure that as part of the investigation with the agencies that we're working collaboratively with, that they'll have access to all that information.
Any plans to release that video to us?
Well, not at the moment, because we're just figuring out what's all available, and we're figuring out how to get access to it. But as part of the ongoing investigation, not at the moment, but I'll let you talk to Craig about making sure that when it is, if it is, you can have access to it, okay? So I don't have a complete age range for you. It's my understanding they're all adults. It's my understanding that there are no children involved, but we are trying to work with MedStar, who did the transport, to make sure that we give that information in a timely manner. You know, the majority of injuries in something like this are strains, lacerations, eye injuries, things like that from the debris. There's some of the folks had concussion type injuries from the blast, and that's primarily it. The minor ones are aches, sprains, and strains with lacerations. The ones that are more serious are concussive type things from the explosion of the gas.
We're going to take one more question, and we'll let the chief have one last comment.
And more serious injuries expected to be able to make it?
You know, I'd have to defer that to Parkland. I can tell you that the last update I got is that they were being treated in the intensive care unit at Parkland, and part of that is in the burn unit, and that they are seriously ill. Anybody else? One more.
Just emotionally, can you speak to, this is a huge response with a lot of people involved. You see it face to face. What's on your heart?
So I think that the first thing is that my first and foremost responsibility as the fire chief here, send my people home safe at the end of the shift, right? They didn't cause this issue. They're here to work with others like the police to clean it up and to do the best they can. So my first responsibility is them and their safety. So that's where my heart lies, right? Secondarily, to the victims and their families. They're in our thoughts and prayers, and they always will be. Third is how we assure a community that this community's safe, we're resilient, that this is not a nefarious act, if indeed it wasn't, and how we learn from it to try to prevent it from happening in the future. Those are my take-home points. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you all.